Hello, everybody. Jess, Intuitive Angel Healer here with your Grounded. I've got the beautiful Jennifer Langley here for Why Not Wednesdays. And we're going to go ahead and do the Why Not Wednesdays Women Empowerment Showcase. Thank you so much for joining me today, Jen.
Thank you. Thanks for having
I'm
me.
I'm so excited to have you here. And truly thank you for coming. I'm trying to show women the face of empowerment, and there are 16 beautiful souls joining this limited series. And I just wanted um, to say thank you for coming because you were doing a lot just by being here because we as women need more role models. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you. But thank you so much, Jennifer. And go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So I am 36. I live in Lake Elsinore. I am the founder and I'm an entrepreneur of Jennifer Langley Artistry. I've been a licensed hairstylist and makeup artist for over 8 years. And
Wow.
I got started with that because of my daughter. I've done like 10 careers in my life. So, but all of them brought me to where I needed to be and brought me to like be able to manage everything. And the last career I had before I decided to be a makeup artist and hairstylist was I was a restaurant manager. So I was working over 60 hours a week and it was a lot and I didn't want to do that. So I took a 3-month road trip around America by myself. And then when I came back, I decided that my path was telling me I should go into hair and makeup. And so that's what I did. And then I found out I was pregnant.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So it's one of those like, yes, I need to, make sure that I have something that I will be able to be with my daughter. And so, yeah.
Nice. And that's awesome. That sounds like you've had a fun-filled path, though.
Yes.
That's very awesome. So, have you got to do any? I know you're in California. Have you got to do any famous makeup yet? Just out of curiosity.
Um, I mean, yes and no. I know a lot of like different celebrity artists and I've done a couple of celebrity events, but I haven't done like celebrities that I guess would be A-list
Yeah,
celebrities
like,
yet.
well,
Yet,
hey, celebrity is a celebrity. When I sold
right?
stuff door to door, I actually ran into the San Diego Chargers, one of the football players, and I can't tell you his name, but I thought it was pretty cool. So,
Right.
hold on 1 second. All right. So, okay, I'm just gonna ask you a couple questions real quick.
Okay.
All right. And so when this is all about women empowerment,
Mhm.
and so when you close your eyes and you imagine an empowered woman, what description comes to mind?
So I personally, I look like Wonder Woman. Like that's who I imagine.
Me
I
too.
have Wonder Woman stickers all over my car. It's gotten me out of a couple tickets. So I think it's working for me, and I just believe that being truthful and being honest and being supportive and caring and standing up and defending others is a huge thing in empowerment because a lot of people don't know how to stand up for themselves. So I think standing up for other people helps the world go round. So,
Yeah, and I think so too. And when you start standing up for yourself, you notice you flow over and you start helping other people because I notice that a lot of bullying happens, especially with young girls,
mhm,
especially young pretty girls. Or it can go on either side. It depends on who the bully is. But I feel that with that attitude of caring for yourself, it starts to flow over and it starts to help others as well. So
mhm.
I really think that's a very big trait to have as an empowered woman, and that's what I'm trying to teach with this whole message is because there's a lot of girls out there who they don't have any role models as as women. The women that they're looking at are not good role models in their life, unfortunately. So I really want to get that message out that, love and kindness can be part of an empowered woman. It doesn't have to be take them out at the legs and such hostility that all women seem to teach each other.
Right.
And I love it. I love that you take that attitude that you can have kindness and be an empowered woman. That's awesome. Um, all right. So tell us a little bit about your own personal path of empowerment. You touched on it a little bit. What would you say is most significant, most challenging, and most rewarding?
I want to say I'll start with the most challenging because, like I said, I've been in a lot of different careers in my life. And just finding, I had a boss that was very, almost like abusive in a way. Like she would one day bring me, flowers, and she would bring me stuff, like clothes and candy, and be like, oh, you're the greatest employee and manager I've had. And then later that day, like completely scream at me because I was talking to an employee because the employee was having a hard time at home and just wanted to like have someone to vent to and someone to talk to. And like, that's just me as a person, and just care about people's stories. That's how they're able to, you know, get through problems, is by talking about it. And so she just would go off on me because that wasn't my job. My job wasn't to care about people. My job was to make sure that they were getting their job done. And I was like, but there's more to it. People work for you because they like you as a person and they want to see you successful. And she was not about that. And finally, like, I had enough and I stood up for myself, and I was like, this isn't meant for me. And I left that job, and something better came along. And I was like, this was, if I would have stood up sooner, but at the same time, like, I helped so many people at that job because I cared and I listened and I was there to support them along through their journeys. And I think that's really cool about when you do face a challenge, just looking on the bright side and how to change it to make it better. Um,
Exactly. And I've had a boss like that, and I've worked in doctors' offices. And when I remember this doctor that came in, and he was a bit of a narcissist, and he literally told me, I want you to go clean this room, take this temperature on this patient, go do this shot, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, got it, whatever, because that's what I do. I'm a medical assistant.
right.
He stopped me and said, no, I want you to repeat it back to me. And I said,
Mhm.
okay. And I repeated it. And then he's like, no, no, no. He stopped me. He said, I want it verbatim. He was that ridiculous. And then I found out I quit because I couldn't take this guy, because I quit because I found out for his Christmas party, he made his staff dress up as the waitresses and serve all the other doctors because he treated them like peasants. So good job for leaving that place, because those people, I don't know, they're something else. But this is it's about my biggest thing is toxic relationships. I like to talk about them, and this is the biggest thing in America, that people, when you think about a toxic relationship, you always automatically think boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. No, 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 no. It can be a boss, and it can be a boss that I've had bosses make my life so horrible that I just want to cry and make up every excuse in the world not to go there. So good job
Right.
for standing up for yourself.
Thank you.
That's awesome. It's hard because some people don't. Some people, I've seen people sit in jobs for 20 years and get
Mhm.
the whip cracked on them, and people, they never change. So good job. That's awesome. So see, now what did you do that was most significant after the most challenging part?
That was actually the last job I had. And then I went on my road trip for 3 months. And then, yeah, I ended up going to cosmetology school, and I had my daughter. And my daughter is kind of like my driving force. She's, I have a son now too. So he's my other driving force, but she is the main reason why I started the career path I did. And most careers, I didn't last as long as I have in these two fields. So I'm pretty excited.
Nice. And
So,
kids are a big driving factor, because I know my daughter, she's 9, and if I didn't have her around. She's been the motivation to get up and, want to go out and do stuff. So
Right.
that's totally awesome. And that's cool that you went and left a toxic situation, said, I'm better than this. And you're like, you know what? I don't like any of you. I'm gonna go do my own thing and be my own boss, and I'll be nice to myself. And so
Right.
you went and started jenniferlangley.com, right?
Jennifer Langley Artistry. It's
Artistry.
been a couple different names. I've been growing as, a business person throughout the years. And when I finally got married, that's when I changed it over to Jennifer Langley Artistry, because I just feel like, as I'm not just a hairstylist, I'm not just a makeup artist, I'm an artist in every aspect. So that's why I
Nice.
changed it to Artistry.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you start a business. It doesn't always, it grows, so it doesn't always so what would you say was most rewarding about your whole journey to where you are now that you founded your company, and you said you're founding a nonprofit too, right?
Yes. So I started, and it's also because of my daughter, 2 years ago, I was going to Costa Rica. I was doing a destination wedding out there. And I wanted to make sure that my kids were covered before I left. And so I had tried for 5 years to get my daughter life insurance. And every company I tried to get life insurance with, they denied her because she has a medical diagnosis. And so finally, I asked my financial advisor if she would be able to look for insurance for her, and she was able to find her coverage before I left for Costa Rica, which was amazing because it was like a 2-week turnaround.
Wow.
And so I was like, okay. And then she asked me, like, would that be something I'd be interested in helping others get life insurance and, do other things with financials? And I said, yes, I'll think about it. And when I came back from my trip and just being out in Costa Rica and being out in Guatemala, it changes your heart and changes who you are, because of it's so different. We take so many things for granted here that they don't have out there. And it was just such a humbling experience. And I was so grateful that I got to have that, because my dad's from Guatemala. So I was able to go see like where he grew up and that type of stuff. And so it was just one of those things that was like, I got to do a lot of things with my career that I would have never got to do if I didn't take that leap of faith and just do it.
Nice. And that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing is I teach my clients to step out of their comfort zone, because once you step out of your comfort zone, that's where your opportunities lie. But
Right.
it's kind of funny that we as humans expect different results, but a lot of us tend to do the same thing over and over. And you're like, why am I not getting a different result? And so if you went right last time, go left. And that's what you did. And look at where you're at, because we can always, we always want to be, farther than where we are. You're never satisfied with being, even when you're on top, you're always trying to go further. But I think it's really cool that you used all your experiences as stepping stools, and you just put them in your knowledge belt, and you just kept growing it. And then it sounds like you had your kids, and that just was like the cherry on the sundae.
Yeah.
They just helped put the bricks in your house, and now you have
Mhm.
the foundation, and like the sky's the limit for you. So a
Yeah.
little bit more about the nonprofit.
Yeah.
What are you doing with that?
So basically, when I joined the business as a financial advisor, I was just mainly a referral person. So I just, referred clients to my financial advisor, and she would help them along the way. And then in February of this year, I referred one of my friend's husbands to get insurance, and then he ended up passing away 2 months after he applied for life insurance. And so that just made my heart like was telling me I need to focus on this business. So I started focusing on this business, and I've always been about helping people and giving back. And with the money that we're making with this business, we're, raising money for different charities, and we're in the process of doing a nonprofit for be able to give back to more communities,
And
and not
and
just
that's the
America.
Rebels with a Cause, right?
Yes.
That's
And yeah. So it's Rebels with a Cause Financial is my actual business. And then we're trying to get the Rebels with a Cause nonprofit. There was a nonprofit beforehand. So we're kind of in the works of trying to figure out how we can either merge together or create a separate one completely. So
Nice. And
But
if
yeah,
there's
so
anybody out there, that has more information for Miss Jen, you can gladly share it. She would love that.
mhm,
You
yes.
never know who's watching. So, all right, my friend, let's go on to the next question. What advice or suggestions can you give to women walking along the path of empowerment or trying to get started? Because that's the biggest thing is nobody, and I always tell nobody wants to sit here and be a sad soul. Some people eventually they just lose hope, but it never started out that anybody wanted to just be a slump.
Right.
And nobody wants to be in an abusive relationship. Nobody wants that. How when it gets going tough though, what did you do? What would you tell other women that can look at you and say, if she did it, I can do it? What would you tell them would be your guidance for that?
It's believing in yourself, waking every day and just saying, I'm amazing, and doing your daily affirmations and saying, like, I'm incredible, I'm here to help people. Like, and if you can't believe in yourself, like, I will believe in you until you're ready to believe in yourself. And that's like, I think the biggest thing is with my friends that I have, like, they've heard me say that a million times. But it's true. I love people and I want to see everyone succeed. And I've been through a lot of dark phases in my life as well. And it's like that, I think, is what has gotten me through it the most, is being like, I deserve better, and I know I am better. Like, I can overcome anything because of what I've been through in my past, and there's no obstacles that are too big to get over. So,
Exactly. And it's also about letting go of the past too, because
yeah.
so many people resonate with the past. And the more that I mean, because I'm guilty of it and it's taken me many years to overcome it. But the more that I've learned to let go of the past and start making new memories,
Hmm.
and I let go of those old ones, I'm letting go of that energy because the more I hold on to it, it's like I'm holding a magnet and I'm just pulling more experiences of crap and you're like, man, I've already experienced all this sadness and heartbreak.
Right.
Please, no more. So, after I learned that little trick of I need to cut the magnet off in my mind and it would stop pulling all these similar experiences that keep repeating themselves, and it took me to 39, but I figured it out that hey, if I do that, guess what? I can resonate new experiences and new and it's but it's that deep it's when you have that darkness, when you're in the darkness, it's easier said than done because I've had some dark moments that, and we all have, and and at some point, it's going to be you and you. And
Right.
because you can be around your friends all you want, but the universe will eventually get you alone. And
Right.
I actually have this wonderful book that I'm reading that I'm going to be talking about, and it's called Owning Your Own
Ooh,
Shadow. And
yes.
I'm going to be talking about this in our group here shortly. It's by Robert A. Johnson, and it's perfect because this is what the biggest thing is: women don't own their shadow, and
Mhm.
we try to run from it, and you can't run from your
Right.
demons. And once you clean out the goblins in your closet, it feels so much better.
Right.
So,
It's like a weight lifted off your shoulders when you do that. It's
and it
amazing.
is, and it's hard, but never give up and don't stop letting people tell you that you're not worthy. That's
Mhm.
another thing. We let so many people tell us that we're not worthy. Well, who are you, Mr. Perfect? I hope you're perfect for the rest of your life because God forbid you do anything, human. So I love it. Because and I'm funny about this, but I know there's some viewers out there that are in not such a great situation right now, and they need women like you and me to let you know that hey, we're laughing about it now, but we didn't think it was funny when it was happening, and
No.
we're here to tell you that look at where you can be. Do you want to be there with that sad soul telling you you're not worthy, or do you want to be where I am, living life? So
Right. Yeah.
that's where it comes down, personal power.
Mhm.
So okay, how do you support the women in your community to live empowered lives? So What is something I'm sure you do a lot because, obviously you're already starting a nonprofit.
Yeah. So when I was 19 years old, I went to a Christian bookstore and I was looking around and I bought this cross, and at the counter, the guy asked me, he's like, "Oh, can you sponsor a kid?" And I was like, well, I can barely afford to like have groceries myself. Like I was at the clearance table to buy this cross. Like, and I was like, I don't know if I can like, manage doing $30 a month to help someone else. And he told me, he's like, when you believe and you provide for someone else, God will provide for you.
Hmm.
And that just like, I went home and I just was like, oh my gosh. And it like sat in my heart for forever. And then at like midnight, I was on there like Googling World Vision, because that's the one that he was talking about. And I ended up sponsoring a kid in Guatemala. So for the last 17 years, I've been sponsoring the community in Guatemala.
That's
And it's
really cool.
$30 a month. It's not a lot, but it was at the time. And so now I sponsor 2 kids out there. And my biggest thing is, my goal is to help the community out there and build a school eventually.
Oh,
Um,
wow. That's
yeah,
cool.
so but that's kind of like what started all of it, if that makes sense too. Like,
Huh.
so for now, what we do is we do a drive and we kind of get clothes and food and that kind of stuff. And we have a friend that drives it down to Mexico, and she takes supplies down there for them, because that's close and it's not shipping. And
Well,
so yeah, and then
I know that you're a beautiful soul because when my angels come around, I start getting goosebumps, and like my whole left side is like numb right now. It's crazy. Like it's vibrating so crazy right now because you were such a beautiful soul. Like, and I'm not just telling you that. Um, you really are amazing. Like, thank you. Thank you for your, we need more generosity in this world like you. And if people would stop living in a mindset of lack and scarcity, because even though you didn't have money, I've been there, and
yeah,
$10 is not a lot, but when you're eating 29-cent McDonald's cheeseburgers, it's a lot.
right.
um but you did it, and you know what, that's the biggest thing in manifestation. And if you, whatever the universe takes, it will give you back tenfold. Always remember that. So it's kind of like a garage sale, and you are giving, and that's, you got to balance your giving and receiving. So that's really awesome that you know that. And a lot of people that are even older than you by 50 years don't know that yet. They're greedy. They hold on to their last, and I'll give you my last, because my angels will never give up on me, and yours won't either. And I love it because you're an earth angel as well. And what you're doing is just absolutely amazing. So I apologize for interrupting you, but I
Oh
just
no.
had to share that moment with you.
No worries. Like, so, and then with my hair and makeup business, like I've always done charity events. Like that's a way of me being able to give back. And I have 3 every year that are I have to be there for them. I don't care if the job is the highest paying job I have, I will not do it. And I will do the charity event instead. So one that's really amazing to me is it's the Night to Shine event. It's for kids with Down syndrome. So I do a couple girls every year for that. I do their
That's
makeup
really
and hair. And it's just so cute. They're so sweet and they're just so grateful for it. And then for foster kids when they graduate, I do their makeup as well. And they get to walk the stage at the Disney Hall. And it's just a
wow.
really cool experience. Like I leave
That
there
is
just like
amazing.
floating on a cloud. Like it's just really amazing. And then I do another charity. It's for 8th graders, and not a lot of them. It's in a low income community and in LA. And there's only like 8 kids to 12 kids max that graduate from the school every year. And
Wow.
so, I mean, that's what they look forward from kindergarten to 8th grade, is that getting their hair and makeup done by a beauty team. So it's like they have to strive really hard to graduate, because otherwise if they don't keep their grades up, then they don't get to get the experience. So like just
Wow.
hearing their
That's
stories and, you know, where they're coming from. And at home, it's just like, oh, and I have to do it. So I even moved like an hour and a half away from there, and I still go out on my way to go. So
that's awesome. That's
yeah,
amazing. You're a busy lady. Your daughter's having a ball, I bet.
right.
She loves, because my daughter loves all the stuff that I do, so I know she's having a good time.
Yeah.
So,
She's
go ahead.
she's just like super excited when she actually gets to go to events with me. She's just like, and I'm like, she's like, can I do this? And I was like, no, like you can't use the makeup, but you can be here to support me.
Hey, she's loving it. You're
Right.
giving her awesome memories, let me tell you. So,
Mhm.
who and what inspires you to continue down your path of empowerment as a woman?
So my mom is my I guess biggest idol. The
Well,
apple
she's
doesn't
a
fall far from the tree. She's just as
nice.
giving, and she's just as, you know, amazing, and she does so much for my grandma. She like gives them gifts every month, and she brings them surprises, and she does it for the whole staff, and she does like a nonprofit kind of thing as well. So it's called Pals with a Senior, and I just think that's the coolest thing. And so I'm like, I
That
just,
is awesome.
yeah, and she's just the most happiest person, and it makes me strive to be better. So when I have my hard days, like I'm just like, what would my mom say?
Oh, that's awesome. You guys have an awesome little group of women there. Like, I love it. It's awesome. It's awesome. So, what is your daily self-care regimen, as a professional to prevent burnout? Because you're busy and you have so many different things going on. If you don't ground, you're gonna be flying off to the clouds. So, how do you fit it in? Because the biggest thing is people love to say they can't do it, they don't have time. What do you do, and how can you tell women out there how they can how something they can do to put in their schedule?
So the first thing I do when I wake up is I do daily affirmations. So I have, you know, things that I say to myself. I say, you know, you're awesome, you're incredible, like you can accomplish anything. Like
Hey, I do
and
it too. Affirmations are the best. That's my number one thing.
right, and that really is what gets me out of bed and gets me going. And it's like I have a list of things that I need to do. I am like the worst planner. But at the same time, I've learned to love it and grow into it. So now I have a schedule, I have a calendar that I can share with my family so they know what things I have, and I have meetings, and I have you know, classes for my daughter, especially now she has Zooms all the time. So I have to keep it organized that way. And then that's like, okay, I have an hour here, so let me either go outside and just enjoy nature, because that's a really big refresher for me to be able to like just find that peace. And
Yeah.
where I live, we have a lot of birds and nature, so it's very cool and very quiet, but you also get to hear the songbirds. And then I write poetry. So I try to find a quiet place. It's usually at night when I actually end up writing stuff. Just to be able to get my feelings out for the day and to just share my emotions on paper. And then it helps me if it was a rough day or things didn't go the way I planned them, I'm able to get that out. So it's
Nice.
not, I mean, I don't write every day, but for the most part, I try to. So,
Well, that's very important though, because just taking time to do something. So, and I like to everybody to hear the different ways that other people, because everybody has their own regimen, but as long as you take that time, you need to take that time for yourself.
mhm.
Um, so what is your vision, would you say, or your hope for women out there in the wellness in the holistic field? What would help empower future women? So even in the artist, in the makeup field, that's
Mhm.
a very strongly powered woman field. And I know it can be a bit catty at sometimes because, and especially when you're an artist, ooh, like that's one thing, and then you're a woman, and then you got all this stuff, and then there's men that do it too. And what would you say though? How would you empower the women to go out there, because it's a tough industry.
It is. But you know that I believe there's a path for everyone, and things that are meant for you will be meant for you.
Right.
So I'm not about, let me knock them down, because that means someone else is going to knock me down. But instead, if there's something that like I know that someone else will be better at, then I give them that opportunity to take that job instead. Because I believe as an entrepreneur, the more successful you are and the more successful you help other people be successful, it all goes
Comes
around
around.
in a circle. And
Nice.
it just grows you and it grows them. And you want a community that you're happy and you're excited and you're like pumped up and ready to go. Because when you have that feeling of like, oh my gosh, if I say the wrong thing, if I do the wrong thing, like this is going to ruin my career. And it's not, it hurts you. It actually makes you less of an artist, or less of, who you should be, because you're not giving your all because you're afraid. And being afraid is the hardest thing that you could do to
And you're also worried about how everyone's going to receive you as well, and then you can't do your job as well. Because I know when I'm channeled into my readings, and I'm more worried about giving you the message versus uh trying to be cool and show you all these cool tricks, then I do a lot better of a job. And so that's what I found that out very early.
Mhm. Yeah.
So awesome. Yeah. All right, men, this is the biggest thing. Who is a man that was a role model or significant, because what do you feel, what role do men play in supporting empowered women, and what is a particular event or person that empowered you, good or bad?
So I would have to say my husband, because he has been with me through this entire journey of opening, my businesses, and seeing like the hard work that goes into it, because it's not easy. And you know, there's a lot of struggles that come with being an entrepreneur and finding your right tribe and the people that are supposed to help you grow. That's a huge part of it, and he has been the backbone of it. He's actually watching my kids right now, so I could do this. And it's just, having that person that's gonna, be there regardless if you're, you know making it or you're not. They're still going to be there supporting you and giving you that courage that you can succeed at what you want to do, and as long as you have faith that you want to do it.
Do you think men in general play a really big part in whether women become empowered and live out their dreams, or do you think they become a crutch? Like, do you think
Um,
it's really important if you have you have a good role model, you have a good strong male figure in your life, but what about the women who don't have? What would you say for those?
for those that don't have one, I mean, I've been in relationships where I had that, where it was like they weren't supportive, where they were always actually telling me like, oh, you should just stay with your day job. Like, you're not going to go anywhere with your life. And it was very hard, because it's like, then you start believing what they're saying.
Hmm.
And instead it's like, that's what the daily affirmations came in, because it was like, I need to be able to tell myself that I'm good enough, that I can make it. And everyone has a purpose and everyone has a path. And I if obviously they weren't meant for me, and it took it took me 4.5 years in one relationship to figure that out. But
That's
once I
okay. It
left,
took
it
me much
was,
longer.
yeah.
I
But
was in it for 10 whole years, and bad relationships before that, so I got you beat.
right.
But that's the biggest thing is we all know what it feels like to have a good, a good man, but what is it when you don't have it? And
Yeah.
that's awesome that you said, well, you know what? At some point you said, ta-ta, I am good enough for me if you don't like me. And I did that too. And that's the biggest thing is, you know what, if somebody is just going to continue to knock you down, then just open up the door and keep on going. Don't
Right.
listen.
And it came full circle, because the other day there was a girl in one of the groups, and she was saying, basically almost the exact same scenario that I had when I was in that relationship. And I told her exactly what I did. I was, I ended up saying enough was enough, and I left, and it was weird and it was awkward. And he, 10 years later, when he knew that I started my, business,
He came around, didn't he?
yeah, well, no, he actually tried to slander me. He tried to make it so give me bad reviews and just try to make it so I wouldn't be successful. And I was like, that's a lot of bitterness and resentment that he had for that long. And I just wrote him, and it's just I'm a different person than I was when I was with you. And I would appreciate you not trying to take away who I am. And he apologized, and we went our separate ways, and it was probably the coolest experience, because it was okay, but it was just one of those things, you don't realize how it affects the other person.
Mm-hmm.
But it took 10 years for him to figure that out. You need to let go. I let go.
And you know what? I had that problem too. And when I left, I'm a Pisces. I gave my guy millions of chances. Okay. It was a toxic 10-year marriage. He's a Virgo. When I left, it took him, oh my, he's probably still not over it, but, at some point I'm just go find somebody else. I'm not going to chase you. If you don't like me, friend, boyfriend, boss, I don't want to be around you. I'll just go sit by myself, because that just feels weird. So, I don't know why people attach, but it's that whole thing of, uh, people hold on to stuff because they're like, I'll never get another one. Well, you didn't like the one you had, so let it go and let it be happy.
Right.
So, all right, we already went over the importance of a good self-care regimen, and you've already really kind of nailed that down. So, I want to wrap this up. We went a couple minutes over, but what advice could you give our group and our viewers today about how to not deny themselves of self-care and to not settle for anything less than their dreams?
It just goes back to believing in yourself, and just write down where you want to be. Put your goals of from 5 years, 10 years, and you're going to be a different person 5, 10 years from now. So you have to think about that. Are you going to be happy where you're at in 5 years? Or are you going to be stuck in the same place? Because if you want to be growing and you want to be a better person, you need to think about that and strive to be that person. I know that in 10 years, I'm going to be a totally different person, and I hope it's for the better.
We only get better every day. We're like wine, like fine wine.
Yeah, like fine wine.
We age, we get better with age.
But yeah, just believing in yourself, and just taking it one step at a time, because it is a lot of footwork to get to the next stepping stone. And it, at times when it's you feel like you're taking 2 steps forward, and then someone's knocking you 4 steps back, you're going to get to your destination. And finding your people that will help you get there is probably the biggest thing. So
Very, very true. Well, you sound like your blessings are coming down the pipeline, and your angels are definitely blessing you, because there's no way you're giving out all this good out of the kindness of your heart. You can tell when people are doing things to get gratification for it, and you're simply doing it just like I do it, for the love of it. And that's why you're going to go so far. And even if you can't see it right now, just know things change in a moment, and it takes that one moment. And you've already seen that in your life. It takes one moment and things can be totally different. And you never know what's going to happen. So just keep believing, like Peter Pan in Neverland, and you'll be like Tinkerbell. That's what I am. I'm Tinkerbell. And but anyways, I am so happy to have you on here. You are a wonderful, wonderful lady, and
thank you.
I went ahead and I'll put up your certificate of empowerment that I sent you. Thank you so much. You are the face of women empowerment, and I'm so honored to have you on my show today.
Oh, well, thank you so much for having me. It means so much. I was so excited.
I'm excited for all this. And it's funny because there's 16 people Now 6 plus 1 in numerology, to break it down, is 7. Now 7 is a number of faith. How cool is that, that I have 16 members? Because there's never coincidences in anything. So always remember, just believe in your angels are always there and they'll always help you. You just have to ask. And that's all.
Okay.
So
well,
thank
I
you.
have to say too that this is a huge thing for me because I normally am so behind the camera, and I normally don't like being in front of camera. So this was a huge milestone for me to be
Yes.
able to talk and
Well,
be recorded and have a conversation.
well, you
So
you
thank
inspire
you.
a lot of people, because there's a lot of introverts that are like, I could not do it. I couldn't be up there.
Yeah.
So you inspire a lot of people just by being here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Everybody for tuning in. Catch us next week when we get our new nominee for our interview for Why Not Wednesdays for Your Grounded. And you can check out, go ahead and say your link, Jennifer, to
I have Jennifer Langley Artistry .com, and then I have WFG Connects /JLM.
JLM, and that goes to her financial advisor business. So,
Yes.
all right. Well, thank you everybody for joining. Have a wonderful night. Love and light to everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.